Greetings, this is Dr. Jeffrey Scott, and this is my Market MRI Pro update for Monday, July 28th, 2025. What a disappointment. We saw big future moves after some tariff deals with the EU, positive movement with China. Trump just had to talk and he ended the war between Thailand and Cambodia because he wouldn't negotiate tariffs. All the ingredients that Monday should have been a strong day. And it started that way, but it's not necessarily where it ended. So tariff deals failed to move the markets. And now you got to wonder, are we topping as we're entering the worst time of the year for stocks, August and September? And I think, we heard on CNBC, I listened to it during lunch, the market is tired. And I kind of agree, the market is tired and maybe we're due a pause. Um, will it be worse than a pause? I mean, think of what we got coming this week still. A PCE, we got some employment numbers, we got GDPs, we got a Fed meeting, and we got buku earnings with a major part of the Dow reporting this week. So much can happen. And then, oh yeah, Friday's August 1st. That's a bad time of the year for stocks. And in fact, if you look at the last 3 years, August and September have lived up to the reputation of being kind of weak. So I think we have some volatility coming. Market MRI Pro at gmail.com. My Google group is called Top Down Trader. This is for educational purpose only. Anything I talk about should be taken in the spirit of education and not investment advice. The intent of the video is just to show you how I use my tool, Market MRI Pro, for top-down analysis. Trading involves risk, and you alone are solely responsible for any investment decisions you make. I may own or intend to buy or sell any stock mentioned in this report. Trading stocks and options should be considered risky, and you should consult with your financial advisor before making trades. And I've got tools in multiple platforms, but am an independent trader. My Google group is called Top Down Trader. It's free. You'll get my videos nightly. You'll get some chat during the day, especially if the market's changing. You'll get invited to some free educational events that I don't put out to the general public. You can get support on any of my tools on any of the platforms. You can ask me questions. And more importantly, you get discounts if you buy anything. So join for free, leave whenever you want. Go to Google Groups, go to all groups, look for Top Down Trader, and sign up and let me know how you want to be contacted. So speaking of education, I haven't done one here in a couple of years. And it was a great meeting. It was closer to the end of the year, and we talked a lot at that meeting about Netflix and seasonality. And I think everybody there more than paid for their meeting based upon the text messages I got based upon the Netflix trade. Well, I'm doing it earlier this year. I'm almost ready to announce the hotel. It's a nice hotel, updated in the Marriott chain. In the last couple of years, I've just got one more to check out. It's October 27th and 28th. The location will be on PGA Road, which is in Palm Beach Gardens. It goes all the way to the beach and out to where Lake Okeechobee is and everywhere in between. Um, the hotel will be right off 95, the last two that I'm considering. Breakfast and lunch on Sunday and Monday. Dinner cruise on my boat, Stocks and Docks, Sunday night. And I'll record everything. You get my PowerPoints, you get the recordings. I give you other goodies that I get over the week as well. Back to back with John Person. He's got a seminar on Friday and Saturday, the 25th and the 26th. Totally separate meeting, although he's always welcome to come to mine. And usually I go to his. He doesn't always come to mine. But it's a separate fee. And for more information to reserve your spot, please contact me at marketmripro@gmail.com. And I created a link. So I will stick it into the YouTube video and in the top down blast that goes out. As I mentioned, we got a busy week, and that is not what I wanted to show you. So let me pause that well, I actually can't add it. Yes, I can because I know where it's at. So let me pause that. All right, here you go. Here are the news for Deleted the wrong one. I will get it. Give me, let me just pull it over here. Oh, oh, sorry. Here it is, July 28th. That's the week I want. You could see nothing on Monday. Tuesday, we got a bunch of things. Case Shiller, consumer confidence. We got some job openings. Wednesday, ADP, GDP, FOMC meeting and rates. Thursday, jobless claims and the whole PCE complex. And Friday, the monthly unemployment report or monthly employment report and some manufacturing, consumer spending, etc. That is a big week of news. And oh, yeah, look at all the earnings. Holy Toledo. Um, one could expect to see, as I mentioned earlier, a whole lot of volatility this week. Doesn't mean things are going down, but if the market's looking for an excuse to go down, all it takes is some earnings that don't really come out well. Now, some companies had some really great stuff, and like for example, we'll see if Cadence trades up tomorrow. Um, and it came out, and Cadence beat earnings, raised guidance, raised next year, so that was pretty exciting to see. I think it was Cadence. Actually, that was Celestica, CLS, my bad. AMKR was up 8.2, Rambus was up 5.1%, Sarepta jumped 43% as the FDA loosened their hold, meaning some people can get access to their drug. Big day tomorrow, SoFi, PayPal, Boeing, UPS, and then the afternoon Visa, Marathon, Starbucks. But look what's coming: Meta, Microsoft, Robinhood, Amazon, Apple, Big Oil. So a lot to come this week. And if you want more information about how to use the tool, interested in purchasing the tool, coming to my meeting, just reach out to me, marketmripro@gmail.com. There will be a link to register in the remarks section. And if you have problems with the program, you can always reach out to me or to Praveen at coding@marketmripro.com. So first I want to look at, this is the index we put together at the live meeting in June. That was a great meeting, great reviews. Well, I'll do it at this meeting. I always strive to make each meeting better than the last one. Here's where we sat today. So what this is a list of the bunch of stocks that we chose at the meeting. And to get chosen, you had to be a leader at that time. You couldn't have more than two stocks in any industry group. And the goal was to create a list of leaders, create an index of those leaders, which is what we have here, and with the knowledge that in past tops, this thing will roll over before the market does. Well, as you can see, it's just riding up at 17 in a very slight uptrend, traded lower in the market after opening higher and closed above the moving averages. I would say it was a basically nothing day in our Orange County Leaders Index. If we look at the rest of the markets, you can see the dollar was the big winner, up 1.14% and up at the top of the closing range. Bitcoin was up 1.12. It was up considerably higher during the day. The Qs were up 0.31, was the sole component up. Spiders flat, Russell down 0.1, and then the diamonds 0.16. So a relatively flat market, and then the volatility actually was down. New highs and new lows are creeping lower. Don't want to see those go negative. If you look down here, if you look at one-day change on the S&P 500 sectors, energy led, interesting, followed by tech and discretionary. And the laggards was real estate, materials, utilities, staples were all down more than 1%. So the good news is we rotated into tech, but we left a lot of things behind. If you look at what was leading on the themes, oil exploration, semiconductors, cannabis, energy infrastructure, and MLPs, artificial intelligence, home construction, again, making it to the top of the list. Um, Cloud, e-commerce, software. So tech and energy were up, and pretty much the rest of the market was down. Important thing here is this percentage of advances on the S&P 1500, NASDAQ, and NYSE, and it was higher during the early parts of the day, but we finished in the mid 30s or low 30s across the board. When 33% of the S&P 1500 is up, that means you probably didn't make money in the market. 39% of the NASDAQ and 33% of the NYSE. So not a great day in the US markets despite what looked really promising overnight. Disappointing. Look at the timing model. Here's the daily model. This is the timing signal. We're in a buy on the spiders, the Qs, the Russell, and the diamonds. When I look at a weekly, you will see that kind of a nothing burger today. We'll talk more about the charts in a second, but we're in a weekly buy as well. So the weeklies are telling me to be long. The dailies are telling me to be long. There's some reasons to be concerned, and I'll show you, but the timing model is still long. If we go and we look at the U.S. indexes, let's look at a couple of the issues here. Start with the spiders. Beautiful uptrend. Oh my goodness. Off of the lows, how could you not love that uptrend? Here is seasonality. And where seasonality has been our friend, seasonality going into August and September until we bottom typically in October or at late September, seasonality is not our friend. So we're not going to have the tailwind of seasonality. If we look at the day that we had today, it was kind of a spinning top at, pretty much, let's see if it closed at 636.94. Prior close was at 637. So we're 7 cents off the all-time closing high, new intraday highs with a spinning top. That is an indecision candle, and it's really what comes next that matters to me. But again, does that look great? It doesn't look horrible, but we are getting to a point where we're going to have to start to wonder. Um, this here is a high jump, and when I highlight the bar, you see the high jump is at 83%, not excessive. If we look at the NASDAQ, or at least the NASDAQ 100, we look at the Qs, you see a very similar pattern, except you got a new closing high, and you also have a doji looking candle at all-time highs. And oh yeah, seasonality for the next few weeks is not positive. If we look at the diamonds are consolidating here. This was all-time high day, I believe. Let me see. Let's put a weekly chart on and make sure. Nope, it was not all-time high. Diamonds have not yet hit an all-time high. It's a recent high. Yeah, we got really close to the all-time high here. And now we're just consolidating underneath all-time highs with an indecision bar in a period of weakening seasonality. There's the theme, folks. Weakening seasonality doesn't mean it's going down, but and if we look at the Russell, which I think was relatively flat today, but down 0.1%. Yeah, not nothing that exciting here, but again, look at seasonality over the next couple of weeks is negative. So I do think we have to be a little bit more cautious. No, not that's actually monthly chart. Let's go back to a daily chart, a weekly chart. Right? Let's go back to daily. You get the same candle, but and then the issue of all-time highs, we are nowhere close to all-time highs on the Russell, and that's one divergence that we have to deal with. If we go and we look at volatility, let's just make it bigger. Not much happened, up less than 1% looking at the VIX futures. And if we want to look at the US dollar, right up to what's been resistance. A break above this could be a little concerning to US equities. And I don't have seasonality on this, but I may, let's just curiosity. Let's go into this layout. Let's just put UUP. Is there seasonality on the dollar? Yes, there is. And isn't it interesting? The dollar seasonality here is very strong during the period of the market weakness potential. All right, I guess that's not a surprise. So the dollar had a big move on the chart here. Um, Now we look at commodities. we can see gold broke down a bit, was down a little bit in the market, 0.66. Silver, Doji pulled back to the 17, down 0.06. Oil trying to move, energy was up 3%. Natural gas struggling still. And then the 10-year and the 30-year were both up some today, 0.73 and 0.73. We're still below the ever important 5%, but um, kind of in an uptrend here off the bottom. If we look at the buckets, no signal, kind of flat. If I look at market breadth, you'll see that NYSE did not make a new high today, closed down on the day. The NASDAQ did composite, not the Qs, closed higher, all-time high, and I think we're going to see a nice little doji bar there as well. So dojis at highs is an indecision day. It certainly could be a sign that the market's getting tired. You'll notice that even though we had a higher high, stocks above the 50, 220, and 200 both all went down. Same thing on the NYSE. The new high, new lows were positive, but on both of these AD lines and the up-down volume were negative. And interestingly, we had another bango, an exuberant buying day on the NASDAQ composite. If I look at my market breadth, you could see, and these are all-time highs up at the top, or 52-week highs. And you could see whether you look at the spider, the NASDAQ composite, the Russell 2000, which we decided is not at an all-time high, and then the S&P 1500 were at recent highs. And notice across the board, the 13-week high lows are coming down on all of them despite being at all-time highs. Just one of the divergences that we're seeing. So I'll summarize my market feelings as it's been. I think we are getting close to an area that it wouldn't surprise me for the markets to take a rest. Are we topping? Maybe. Do I think we're about to have a major downside? No, we don't. I haven't seen one Phoenix in weeks. I haven't seen a Hindenburg omen. I haven't seen any of the signals that suggest that we have anything more than a small correction coming. And who knows, this week and next week and the following week have all massive earnings weeks that will dominate. So we'll wait and see what happens. I don't think it's guaranteed by any means that a market sell-off is guaranteed here. I'm just looking at one of my programs here. I just want to check something on it. Filter results and open. And it's up here. I'm trying to break out. Just going to see what on this program, and I'll pull it over and show you what I'm talking about eventually. All right, so that's my market assessment. If I look at the ratio charts, it shows me strength versus the spider. We could see that Bitcoin has come down. What's the strength is remains in technology, discretionary is picking up, and industrials is showing some resilience as well. Now, where I do my stock searching is in the JAS layout. And first thing let's go look at top-down analysis. My universe includes 3,700 stocks in the S&P, excuse me, the NASDAQ composite, NYSE, and the Amex filtered for $1 and 100,000 shares. Top-down sticks them all into sectors. If we look at performance on the day, energy, technology, and cyclical, which is discretionary. Those were the three. Only two were up on my broad index, but we'll put all three. Then I'm going to go over to the industry groups and do the same thing, and then we see what we got here. This is my guess is one stock. Yeah, that's a data error. But we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. These are the 10 industry groups in the three best sectors on Monday. Let's rank them by two-day momentum. MPWR, monolithic power. So what do we see here? Still okay seasonality before it flattens out. big stock way off the old highs. And what happened in the market today? It had a nice breakout off of the 50, also took out the 17 and the chandelier stop, which we won't talk about today. Good volume, breakout momentum from the squeeze, a PSAR flip, and relative strength at OBV look good as well. This one looks like it's poised to go higher. It's an expensive stock. KLAC apparently is one of the benefactors of the Samsung deal that was announced today with Tesla. So here's a very expensive tech play that recently pulled back and had a big move on that news. DDS, Dillard's Retail. Wow, who would a $500 real retail stock? Hard for me to even buy that idea, but this is the revenue, so they must not do a lot of splits. Their multiple 36 seems high. Their earnings rather are falling. Their revenue is super strong with that's probably why the stock is doing so well. So their sales are good. 13 was against a minus 23. 39 was against, actually, we get the one, two, three. Look at the wrong thing here. 10 was against who three? 4.59. 10, 3.47 is going against the 4 point. So you're seeing slowdown again in the earnings, but when you look at the revenue, you see revenue has been accelerating. Um, Actually, it's not accelerating. You just have big earning surprises. So I got fooled by those arrows. So you have big surprises on earnings, strong revenue, but neither revenue nor earnings are growing. So I totally flubbed this up. Bottom line is fundamentally it doesn't look so hot. I have no idea what's fueling this. Uh, Further gains. The latest trend in earnings estimate revisions may not translate to further price increases in the near term. Stronger cash flow than Kohl's. Is this become a meme stock? It's too expensive. I reiterate myself. Yep, I don't understand it. I'm just telling you the chart coming up to recent highs. Burlington Coat Factory. Again, we can look at the earnings. So we got EPS. Here it's got all green. Good growth rates in EPS and surprises and growing revenue. That one makes a little bit more sense. Big multiple 58 doesn't pay a dividend. Earnings are September 4th. So I guess what's happening is as Dick's Sporting Goods driving the retail and apparel. Don't know. Again, not my kind of stock. SMCI has had a nice run here. This is in the data center place. Seems to have escaped the hell from accounting fraud complaints that caused some of the recent pullbacks. Nice little breakout here. Not extended yet, but it's had a big run here. You can see volume, momentum, breakouts, good relative strength OBV. AMD looks amazing. Obviously benefiting from the AI and data center world, up 7.19. Earnings are August 5th. Look at this, looking at 47 cents versus 69, so that's nothing exciting. We'll see what kind of surprise they have. And 743 versus 580, so big increase in revenue. Abercrombie and Fitch had some big upgrades. Again, retail, apparel, big sell-off. The group's moving. That's all I could say. Nice move here, but that 200-day looms big above. ASML was another stock that allegedly would benefit from the Samsung getting the Tesla contract, sort of breaking out up here, and then a big drop off. So I'm not really interested in that. PPL, this is a super expensive land company, Texas Pacific Land Corporation, must have energy rights. So I go through the list. Does anything jump out at me and say, buy me, buy me, buy me here? No. Credo's one we talked about yesterday's in the cooling of data centers. And what did I say yesterday? We buy it if it takes out this high. This high goes back. It's not going to stay there. But this was, I thought, an important high. Let's look at the weekly. Uh, Monthly. So what I think I said on my video was, if it takes out this high, I'm interested, and it did today. Okay, so that's how I look from a top-down perspective. There's other things I could do. I could put in a filter a pullback and uptrends, and then I can rank it by up dots. So I only want things that showed a lot of momentum today. And let's see, the first one is WTI, offshore oil, NESR, National Energy Services, MRC. This is an oil services play. Yeah, earnings are all over the place. Revenue is recovering, but all over the place. Ford, I believe, is a exploration. So this one looks interesting, and I'll tell you why I like it. Look at the earnings here. I mean, quarterly earnings, $1.88, so that's almost $6, nine and a half, $12 of earnings, and the stock's 110. It pays an 8.75 dividend. We're looking at $1.88, 234 versus 340. That's a negative 101. That's why the stock is down. That's why the stock's not 160 anymore. I like this move. I love the takeout of the 200. CPR fired, volume breakout momentum, relative strength, and OBV are moving up as well. Looked at ANF. ACLS used to be a high growth stock, breaking out here. XPro Oil Services, Stitch Fix, nah. So that's two ways of looking at it. Another thing I might do is I might kill this and then kill this and just look at all my industry groups and rank the top. And one that we didn't see before is cryptocurrency. So Ethereum is on a roll, about to come and test the highs from all the way back here in December. So I might look at it this way. It looks like the same things. Independent power producers. This is one that have been hot, and these talked about the issues yesterday with the data centers. Look at Talon. I said this was too expensive yesterday. I meant it. I do have some in one of my portfolios, but I wouldn't buy it up here. But look at this big up day. But it's at 100% on the high jump. You got to be very careful, especially when the market overall is topping. I also like to do bottoms up. So in bottoms up, I'll go back to my original view and look at the impulse rate. And here is a long list of stocks. So my favorite scan is to go 2-day Momo up, $5 and 500,000 shares, hit OK. And let's just look at these four and see if there's anything that looks good. ATRC, Atricure, a breakout above the 200 would be interesting. Look at the volume. There must be something going on. Earnings are tomorrow, so that sort of kills that one unless they came out today. And atrial fib, so it's a heart treatment, I guess, cure, atrial fibrillation cure. All right, earnings matter. Mind technology, don't know anything about this. Big pullback and a breakout here, increasing volume. I might want to know more about this guy so I can see that it's a stock that is starting to make money. Now, I don't know why we have two things here, nine, and with different earnings just from our data feed, but it's interesting we get double each time. Well, that's bizarre. Why this is showing up is these two dots are two momentum dots, and some of my biggest winners have been finding stocks here. Um, one, two, three. We had these two dots occurring, and then boom, the stock went up. And that's something I've seen on a lot of stocks, two momentum days in a row. OVV, an exploration stock, is more of an integrated oil actually. Steady high earnings, but not a lot of earnings per share growth. Revenue seems to be very stable as well. PE is 8, pays a little bit less than a 3% dividend. So it's not necessarily way overpriced, and it's breaking out above the 200, and it's got my little dots. This might, back here, 1, 2, not back to back because you had a day between. When I see these two dots back to back, I get excited. You got a natural place to put your stop, less than 5% away at that 200. I like OVV, and then PagerDuty, get it above the 200. So I looked at a bunch of stocks as we usually do. Let's just look at my The ones I was interested from a long perspective this week, let's see if they didn't mess up. Uh, oh, I got to take out my filter. When you don't see something when you should, it's because you got a filter. These are some of the stocks I looked at this weekend. What's really cool is I can click on this thing here and it's going to show me a chart of the stocks that I picked out yesterday so I could see that the average, the stock was up 0.04%, the list. So we had winners and losers. Let's look at best FM2. We love this stock, still love this stock. It's scary to buy a stock after this. It's that expensive. But boy, oh boy, look at the 5 goes against 409. So that's 25% growth. You've got great earnings per share growth, great revenue growth. It trades at a multiple of 34. It's growing twice that. I think this is one of the most beautiful fundamental stocks in the universe. Yeah, I'd rather buy it on a pullback. And oh, yeah, it had 3 dots in a row, 2 dots in a row before it took off. I love that 2 dots in a row signal. URI talked about this as being one of the rental entities that rents products to a lot of the infrastructure plays. VeriSign was another one that looked good that broke out here. Reversal today, so probably would pass. VRT was another one I liked. This is in the cooling of the data centers. It really has some strong um, seasonality. And if we look here, we can see no dividend and the earnings are 2 days. It's hard to buy something 2 days from now unless you got some insight. Oklo is one I talk a lot about, ended up having an okay day today. Um, and this was after starting out lower and have a nice bottoming tail. In fact, my portfolio did not look great early in the day, at least my trading portfolio. By the end of the day, it was positive, which was nice to see. So I think I've done enough. Last thoughts. Oh yeah, I promised I'd show you this. So I have a similar tool set in TradeStation, and it's got some pros and cons to it. It's not, well, I built out much of what you can do in Market MRI Pro. In fact, in TradeStation, it's just called Market MRI. It only works if you have TradeStation. Whatever it is, it just takes it. I have a hard time pulling things from one monitor to another, and then it just pops. And what we do in here, we scan, it's not my holdings. It's a list of about 1,000 stocks that I have been looking at. And these are the ones that came up. MPWR, we looked at, let's see if I can get that better. It doesn't like the fact that I changed resolutions. RAMP, let's take a look at RAMP. So what I've done is I've combined my stuff with my buddy Cigar Nandy stuff, and these are the stocks that come up. So let me just write down what these are, and we'll look at them, and then we'll say goodbye. I'm always looking at scanners and tools that can give me an edge. And when I was doing the filtering, uh, I'll go back and build the whole list there. So let me close that down. And then, so the first one on that list was MPWR, which we looked at earlier. So there's not much to say on that. Come on. It's a much more, here it comes. And we said it was breaking out. We'll pull back here. RAMP, Live Ramp Holdings, pull back to the 50 and up move. Breakout momentum, CPR, relative strength and OBV turning up. QB is a small bank, regional bank, pull back and a breakout. I like that a lot. Don't like the seasonality. Earnings come out came out last week. That a big surprise on earnings and a surprise on revenue. That's what's driving that. Those are good reasons to see an increase. Flag and a breakout, not bad looking. PSTG. Pure Storage benefits from data center storage. Up off the bottom, sideways move. Is it breaking out here after being in this consolidation for some period of time. I think clearly, I mean, is it breaking out of that? Be interesting to see. BRKR, they make a lot of the stuff involved in and lab testing, genomics, etc. After kind of an ugly thing there, seems to be moving again. Earnings are coming up August 4th, kind of soon. And lastly, LegalZoom. Uptrend, sideways move. Is it breaking out here? Something to watch as well. So that was just one of the other scanning tools that I use to help me find things to give me an edge. So summarize it, I think of all the things that we looked at tonight, well, I love fixed TLN and VRT, but they are all really overbought on the energy side. I still like that chord, which we looked at. And then just to end up back here, because I can't remember what the ticker was. We want that to be on. I'll get us there, I promise. All right. I guess it doesn't want to let me get there. Hold on one second. The one from the bottoms up was OVV. So there's a number of things to look at. You may say, well, he has really obscure stock picks. Why isn't he just looking at FANG, looking at the NASDAQ 100? And I'll tell you why. The market's broadened out, and sometimes you can do very well. And just go back to my video I did on, I think on the weekend of July 4th, where I showed how trading options and looking for stocks the way I'm looking for them today. Most of the stocks I've traded this year were documented um, on videos as through the same analysis, and I doubled an account. It wasn't a big account. It was $150,000, and I doubled it in the first 6 months of the year. And then I put more money in because that account's outperforming, and I want to ride that, and it's still been doing well. But um, come to my live education. I mean, I really pride myself on these events and having folks that want to come back time and time again, and they do. October 27th, 28th, look for a link in the remarks section. Thanks for those that stuck around this long. Take care, everybody.